All right, then let's go. You know, it was only a matter of time before a thriving rail travel between Abuja and Kaduna ran into very rough weather, given the troublous and stormy insecurity in the axis. The Nigeria Railway Corporation, NRC, has halted services on the Abuja-Kaduna route following twin blasts that rocked the track around Rijana and Dutse, all in Kaduna, on Wednesday. NRC Managing Director Fidet Okiria confirmed the frightening development, even as he announced the suspension of operations on the route in order that thorough investigations would be carried out. Meanwhile, security sources suspect terrorist links to the scenario. Now, who will tell these workers of iniquity that insecurity is a waste of time? But first, let's share this story with you. Watch this.
This is the scene at the Regasa station of the Abuja to Kaduna rail line. Here, passengers are stranded, frustrated and afraid. This is not the first time a passenger train will be attacked on this standard gauge line, but this is the first time the attack will force the Nigerian Railway Corporation to suspend rail services. Official statement from the Railway Corporation confirms that there was an explosion on the rail track that affected the fuel tank of the locomotive on the Abuja to Kaduna last train on Wednesday. Passengers plying this busy route are in for a tough time, as it is unclear when rail services will resume.
We need to get here by 1 p.m. and they said there's no train. Okay, so I was asking questions. Okay, what happened? He said the train had a problem since yesterday night. So they knew the train wasn't going to come to Kaduna today, but they were still selling tickets online.
Our things are not reliable. This is a sign of defect, a weakness. That you have arranged everything and the thing is not working, it's not reliable. But we are hoping that the government will take this into action.
Rail transport has become the most preferred means of commuting between Abuja and Kaduna State because the rise in insecurity and activities of bandits and other criminals have made road travel become increasingly unsafe. Many passengers at the Regasta station are still undecided over what alternative means of transportation in the face of rising insecurity in the northwest region that has made it increasingly risky to travel by road. Here in Abuja, the Idu train station is unusually quiet. Just a few passengers are seen loitering within the premises, but had to go back disappointed. This certainly is not the best of times for Adeleke Kazim, a cab driver at the train station. His livelihood solely depends on conveying passengers arriving from Kaduna to their various destinations within the nation's capital. He hopes something urgent is done to return the locomotives to the track and help his business bounce back to making profit.
Train don't stop now. Kaya don't stop here because if the train no work, we no go eat, we no go work until train work before we start the work. I think we understand whether now one would they take the fix the roadway spoil until then fix the road finish before the Kaya start the work here again. I think we understand. Make it go mayor, make them look for solution. Like 1 day, 2 days, make them repair the thing, make them fix the thing where it's spoil for the road.
Kazim's situation resonates with Nkiruka, a food vendor at the train station. Our customers are the service providers around the train station and passengers. Nkiruka now has to reduce the quantity of food she cooks daily as the number of customers has also dwindled.
From here, we'll get what to eat, get something to put inside our pockets. Because if this thing continue to happen, I say, war don't come. Because we'll come here to, this railway be like the umbrella that will put our heads to save ourselves or to help our family.
With this development, the Nigerian Railway Corporation has announced a temporary suspension of its services along the Abuja-Kaduna route. Habida Lawal, TVC News, Abuja.
All right, you know, this was something that was waiting to happen, except that we are not preemptive.
Yes, and we do not respond effectively to threats. This is not the first time that criminals have attacked the Abuja-Kaduna train.
Okay.
No one in NRC will say with finality that this was the first time, or that they didn't expect that this sort of thing could happen. But we are just naturally careless. We wait for something big that will affect all of us to happen before we take a major decision.
Put it this way,
People,
we wait, God go do am.
Yes. This train had been pelted with stones before. Bandits operating on this route had attacked the train before. The only, at that time, it wasn't the rail tracks that were targeted, but they had targeted the train before. There was a time when even fighter jets were accompanying
trains.
Yes, this Abuja-Kaduna train.
Yeah.
Fighter jets were accompanying the train to the destination. That was done at that time because there was a feeling that, look, there's a threat somewhere.
Oh yeah.
And that these elements could do something funny. What they have done, I've heard all kinds of stories, that they were attacked by terrorists, this and that. If terrorists indeed attacked them, they were marooned in that bush for more than 4 hours. They would have been easy pickings for the terrorists.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
Yes, because given how well armed those terrorists are, general purpose machine gun, what was it, RPGs, rocket propelled grenades, and AK-47, AK-49, nothing will have stopped them from taking on the passengers in the bus. I mean, in the train.
But of course,
what must have happened was, okay, they damaged the rail tracks, and then they planted explosives to damage the rail tracks, but they didn't necessarily stay at the location. So, because if they are stayed at the location, just the way they ambush soldiers in the northeast, they will put explosives on the route that soldiers are passing through. Once explosive devices go off and it triggers a big panic, they will now come out of the bush and start firing at the soldiers. So this was not what happened. They had clearly planted explosives on the rail tracks with the intention of damaging the rail tracks, but they didn't really stay there. I guess that the goal could also be to force people who are using the trains to begin to use the road. Again. And everyone, yes, more people, because when you cannot use the train system and you are now forced to go back to the road, because a lot of people, even soldiers, generals, it is these trains that they enter. Their convoys will now go and wait for them at the train station in the Gasa to pick them up. So people do not want to travel by road. This is a fact, because when you travel by road on that highway, it's one of the most dangerous in our country, you could be kidnapped. So perhaps they sabotage the rail tracks so that this train service will not be available for our people, and more of our people will be forced to use
will be scared.
The highway
going by
where they will now. No, it's not even being scared I'm talking about. When you can't use the rail tracks, when you can't use you now have to go back
by road,
by road. So they want heavier traffic on that road so that they can then kidnap more people, because a lot of people, rich people, the military people, they now prefer to use the train because it's safer.
Cozier and will take so many people at the same time.
Yes, and the risk of being kidnapped is not there.
Paul, you know, we knew it was waiting to happen. So being preemptive is what my wahala here.
That's usually our problem. That's the train service was started because to make things easier for people, and a lot of people avoided. I have gone through that route before. I traveled from Abuja to Rigasa, and of course that time too, I was avoiding the Abuja-Kaduna. Yes, exactly. I was avoiding it, and like BKO said, this had happened before. This time it had happened before, and then we relaxed apparently, and. What even baffles me is that this thing happened on Wednesday night. They came back on Thursday morning. Also, the second attack came back, happened hours after, and nothing happened. I think it's time we started taking things very seriously. We need to change the narrative, the narrative of our security in this country. Along that route, there are so many communities through which bandits and terrorists can come through. You know, they can even hide there for days. Yeah. So surveillance, intelligence gathering, and all of that
is lacking.
Exactly.
Mixing. Okay, I think we'll turn things over now to Garba Mohammed. Garba is a witness. He is going to tell us things we never would have imagined. Garba, good evening to you. Yeah, Brother Garba, are you there? Garba is a resident of Kaduna, and he's privy to whatever happened, and it will be very interesting to get to hear his side of the story. We'll attempt to get him now. Jide, while we wait, you know, the problem, I just hope we don't come back to discuss this thing again, because the terrorists will not give you any time to second guess what they are going to do next.
Yes, I was shocked when the initial notion that some people tried to give us was that, oh, this was the work of vandals. I wonder how our people reason like this. Vandals do not need to blow up the rail tracks.
At
to
that point,
steal those metals.
Yes.
They do that. They have breached rail tracks in a number of cities in our country, but they didn't have to blow up the tracks. That's not what they do. But the metals, it's those metals that they want to steal and then go to melt them.
Yeah.
They will just carefully get them removed. I guess they have some tools that they use to unscrew the nuts, holding those metals to the concrete beams. They would then, once they are able to separate them from the concrete beams, they will now live with the metals. You can see, because metal is much more expensive, you can see how we have depended so much on concrete, and that it helps to stabilize the rail tracks. But if the damage was much more extensive, then even the chances of using the rail tracks is zero. But one of the steps taken to ensure that, look, let's even save money in building this, was to use concrete alongside those metals.
But you know, even the rookie detective would say, look, what we have to do now is to preempt these people, because we know chances are 50-50. They might come this way. So the thing is here with us.
You've got to police that corridor a lot better. You've got to police that corridor a lot better. And when we're talking about policing, we've got to provide game-changing equipment for the security forces. I don't think that merely putting 40 soldiers carrying AK-47 or AK-49 on that corridor will solve the problem if the bandits come with superior weapons.
Jide, I'm hearing that Garba is ready for us. Garba, good evening to you. Are you there?
Good evening, everyone.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, what can you tell us?
A lot. I can tell you a lot.
Paraphrase it, but let's go. Go on.
Yeah, actually, like you all know, the train took off from Abuja by 6 p.m. on Wednesday. And then just about 1.5 hours to Kaduna, that is between Rijana and a village called Dusi. We bang, bam! And we're not panicked because we've not had any such experience with train travel. So we're told that there was a burst from the fuel tank. And then we are inside, this was locked. Then suddenly, nobody said anything for over an hour, 2 hours per se. Then later on, somebody came forward to tell us that there is a technical problem and that we should remain calm. We spent over 4 hours in that forest, just for us to realize later that
it would have taken you to close to 10 p.m. If not more. If not later than that.
That was around 12 a.m.
Oh, the line to you is getting muffled.
Yes, it was around, no, the train, if it leaves from Abuja, it's only a 2-hour trip to Kaduna or vice versa.
Okay. Okay, since you left at 6, you should have been...
Can you hear me now?
Okay, you're on. You should have been in Kaduna around about 8 o'clock, right?
Yeah. Yes, around 8:30 thereabouts.
Yeah. Garba,
around 8 o'clock we had that incident.
Okay. What happened thereafter?
We had that incident around 8 p.m. Nothing happened. We were all inside the train. We were locked up inside. Lights were off. The ACs went off too. And then we saw some people running out of the VIP coach. We were told that some police officers who were on escort with some VIPs shouted to them to lie down. And then afterwards, many of them could not stay in that coach anymore. They came back to the economy coach. And then we realized that something is wrong when we saw some of them moving towards the locomotive engine.
Wow. Okay, Garba, this will not stop you from taking another ride on the train, will it?
Of course, yes. I said it's time without number. The train transport, especially between Kaduna, Abuja-Kaduna, is the safest, apart from the air travel. If we have our way, I think the choice is to still remain with the train services, except, of course, for issues of security, which I said by now, the security agencies should take measures. What I mean to say here, Bush, we had expected the reinforcement to come immediately. Unfortunately, it came a little bit late, and just scanty number of military personnel were seen around the tracks. Instead of us to have the reinforcements, the helicopters, and what have you. Of course, I'm aware that there was no network at all, but there must be a means of communication between the personnel and the authorities.
Oh yeah.
So honestly, it wasn't. It was a bad experience, and we're so apprehensive inside.
You were there.
The worst part of it, like I kept saying, was the condition.
You were in the bush for more than 4 hours. How traumatic was the experience?
Yes, it was very traumatic inside. You were locked up inside, no AC, no proper toilets. All the toilets were bad. People were exhausted. They became dehydrated. There was no water to take. It was a lot of problems. Really.
Oh dear.
We resorted to praying. I must confess to you.
Typical of Nigerians.
Nobody wants to hear anything. Yes, nobody wants to hear anything aside from prayers. There are some guys behind me. They were chatting up, and somebody stood up. We were so angry with them that this is time for prayer. Instead of them to pray, they were talking of something else. So, I mean, It was so traumatic. Really.
Yeah, Garba, what is the Nigeria Railway Corporation telling us now?
Well, we heard that they actually admitted there was an explosion, but not to that. I think they should be in a better position to talk about that, not from me, really. We're talking of what we experienced in the train. So I expect the security agencies and the railway corporation to come up with a very strong statement towards that. And the worst part of it, really, that communication gap between the authorities, the officials in the train, and the passengers was bad. Honestly, it was a very bad experience.
So, as a resident of Kaduna, I'm sure you will recall that some time ago, these bandits stormed the train station in Rigasa to pick up people.
Yes.
People who had just arrived from their destination. Does it not? Does this not send a clear signal to us that the bandits have an agenda against train travelers?
Or put simply, they have an agenda.
Of course, yes. But I'm sure you're familiar with the...
Oh dear, Garba, the line is muffled. It's only natural. But we want to thank you very, very kindly, and as we say, happy survival. Thank you. Paul, so where do we go from here? This is a wake-up call.
Exactly, and I hope that we wake up to this reality. These are things this is a kind of thing that have been happening. Bandit attacks, terrorist attacks in Nigeria, and it's like they are always one step ahead of us. You know, one step ahead of us. While we're trying to fix this, you hear of another event, a sad one. So we need to do what is important. Now, I'm very much concerned about the issue of communication, because truly, if you are traveling between Abuja and Kaduna, of course, you will lose network. You will lose network. So if you are in that kind of situation, you can't call anybody. So I hope the railway, the NRC authorities know that they can't rely on. They have to have a kind of communication that works, you know, so that when this kind of thing happens, it can easily they can easily communicate with whoever is in charge, you know. So
it's terrible. In our country, we hardly, at times like this, communication is broken down completely. So you are at sea. You can't seem to understand what's going on.
Well, there ought to be alternative means of communication outside of GSM services, because the telcos are in business to survive. They are in business to make money, and they are not going to set up base stations and erect their masts inside the bush. Even bandits know that network is a problem for them in the bush. So when they want to communicate, they go to places
where you have
the closest point to them, where they have a network.
And they know these things.
So that is the thing. So on that route, on that corridor, the officials must be able to use maybe walkie-talkies or any other form of communication, so that when we have this kind of problem, there can be a quick response. You know, that will ensure that the people are not in harm's way. A situation in which the people are trapped for hours and they don't receive some form of security support.
You know, if you were flying and you run into rough weather, voices from the cockpit will keep passengers less and anxious,
less apprehensive.
You know, and so
you have to be constantly spoken to, and with the lights off, no water to drink and all that.
You are not
for 4 hours, and you can't go to the toilet, and you are scared to come down. I can only imagine the agony that the people are going through. It was said that some of them had to go and drink toilet water right inside the train.
You can even pee on yourself.
Yeah, so but when you are told that, look, this is the situation is under control, there is a calming effect that it has on you.
Oh, yeah.
But clearly, based on what Garuba told us, they were not privileged to have that kind of